Cue the show, sound surround and the screen will glow. Grab your popcorn, settle in. Movie magic's about to begin. Techthusiasm, the lights. Cue the show, sound surround and the screen will glow. Grab your popcorn, settle in. Movie magic's about to begin. Techthusiasm, turn it up to...
Hello, folks. Welcome to Christmas Week, Techthusiasm Live Podcast. It is December 22nd. Yeah, December 22nd, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Good evening, good afternoon, and all of that. So we'll see how the turnout is this week. If folks are busy wrapping up maybe the first couple days of work for the week, already off on Christmas vacations and maybe travels and trips and family visiting and all of that. But nonetheless, we're here to hang out for a little while, talk about some home theater entertainment and content and other things, enjoy the hobby for a little while, and then we'll call it a day and onward to the rest of this week. I'm still working in two ways this week. Still working the day job Monday, Tuesday this week, but of course, the Techthusiasm remains open all week, all vacation and stuff. I will be taking off the day job for the next week and a half or so. We have some plans that we're working on. We'll definitely be hanging out with family Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We'll hopefully spend some time with some friends. Definitely spend some family time. I hope to enlist the family, local family, immediate family here on some home improvement, cleanup and organization projects. Spend some time doing that. Then hopefully we can get out skiing a little bit as well. Is on the plan. We've been looking at like the kind of northern Michigan ski resort options and whatnot. We didn't book this ahead of time. I think going forward, it's probably going to become a bit more of like a tradition that we'll book a go away, drive away, few days, northern Michigan. Sorry for the camera adjustments there. But yeah, we'll book some northern Michigan ski getaway in conjunction with New Year's Eve and in the holiday weeks and whatnot to kind of kick off the season. But we were late. We didn't book anything yet, so still trying to find something. It's amazing how quickly stuff sells out, even at kind of the inflated holiday prices and stuff. But yeah, so that'll be our Christmas vacation coming up. Of course, we're like knee deep into the last of the Christmas shopping, picking up gifts and all of that for the family, the nieces and nephews and whatnot. Of course, for our own kids and everything. So they're up there wrapping some stuff now. I'm not the biggest. I'm not into the gift scene of the holiday season. That's not the thing that I enjoy the most. My wife's much more into that element than I am. But in any case, if you're shopping gifts, if anybody's still out there shopping last minute stuff, of course, feel free to get in touch with me. Happy to talk this week on any equipment, home theater equipment, audio, video equipment for any of the brands and stuff that I represent. There's a big brand listing on the webpage, but there's still some deals available. I did learn today. I don't know why I didn't get this information a couple days ago. I think it's been the case for almost a week now, but JVC did expand the end of year sale on their projector lineup to cover more of the models. So there actually are discounts on the NZ500 and the 900 now. There's like $1,000 off on the list price of the NZ500. There remains $1,000 off on the 700, $2,000 off on the 800, and now $3,000 off on the 900, bringing it kind of back in line with, I think, where the 900 was, or close to where the 900 was before the price increases from earlier this year. But if anybody's shopping JVC, please get in touch for that. Of course, anybody's looking for Kaleidoscapes and stuff, always happy to do those as well. And if you're just shopping, generally, there's all of the regular affiliate links on my webpage. Target, Amazon, I'm sure everybody out there is ordering from those places. I know we are in mass shopping at Amazon and Target actually quite a bit. But you can click through in the description of some of the videos and the shopping links and stuff, even to Best Buy as well. But yeah, so if any of that is happening in your household and you'd like to support me with some of that business, particularly some direct business for any of your audio video needs, please get in touch. It's been a fun end of year, actually. The last week has been really interesting. I've got multiple screens coming and going, to different folks. I have actually I just shipped out an NZ700 today to a longtime channel community member and somebody that I've been kind of helping through phases of his home theater buildup for the last really like the last year. So that's been really fun. He's right at the home stretch now of having the last pieces to go in. We're waiting for his screen to ship and arrive. The projector will hopefully be there in conjunction. Even hopefully the screen will ship this week as well. He's already got speakers and audio and different things in. So helping that person get a functional room for the end of the year. Nice Christmas present for himself. I had a client over this past weekend to we demoed the theater briefly, but helping this person with a basement home theater setup, a multi-channel audio setup, bigger flat screen TV setup, not a projection setup. But so we spent a little bit more time kind of talking up in the living room. I love having both of the spaces, being able to demo out the dedicated room and of course the living room setup. So that was pretty cool talking to some other folks for some other room upgrades and speaker upgrades, vocal upgrades, and all of that. So having a lot of fun with those engagements, giving advice and kind of evaluating options and budget and all that. So if I can help anybody out, there's a lot of ways to get in touch with me. You can message me through the channel, email jeremy@techthusiasm.net, go to the webpage, www.techthusiasm.com, of course, and yeah, put that up for a few seconds. There's a contact form available on the webpage and stuff as well. So again, the JVC discounts are up and other options for hopefully some nice opportunities, upgrade opportunities at the end of the year. I've sold through most of my used stuff now. Actually, the Focal speakers that came out of the living room are spoken for, going to somebody as part of a 2026 upgrade project. So those are kind of sale pending and off. The only thing I have left, I still have these Triad subs, man. If anybody out there could use a pair of 10-inch bronze Triad subwoofers and the like 300 watt or 350 watt rack amps that go with them, I'm ready to like basically blow those out. Those boxes have been sitting down in my basement now for a couple months, and I'm ready to. Okay, what is this? Ready to move those on to a new home. So. So we got a detractor in the audience. Okay, interesting. Anyway, so let's say hello to some folks and kind of muse on other things that's been going on. Julius, welcome, of course. Hello, Sren, welcome. Sren, did you install the Envy update that came out on Saturday? No, actually, I didn't notice that had come out. I'm actually a little bit behind on the theater updates. I still haven't done the JVC firmware from a few weeks back. Just overdue on that. I need to do that, make a video. I need to still put the UPS on the projector, make a video. But I haven't checked the Envy hasn't given me notice. We have been down here a little bit. I'll talk about that in a minute, actually, where we did watch some Star Wars prequel movies down here. And I didn't notice anything pop up from the Envy that I didn't notice. Jeez, I don't know what's going on today. Anyway, I didn't notice any pop-ups about updates for the Envy. I wonder if I think the last one had like the game mode stuff. I know I've been talking with some folks about that, and the dynamic subtitle optimizer and whatnot. I think should be coming as well. I'll have to check it. So I wish the JVC updated just on web connection, internet connection, and not even to do the USB key and stuff like that. But I got to climb in there anyway to set up the UPS. So I'll be doing that regardless. I'm probably putting that update in. So I'll check and see if there's anything super interesting in the Envy update. I'll give it a look and maybe spin out a quick video about that. The next video coming, I have the 48 terabyte Tera had come in. So my son and I, we filmed kind of a install vlog and set up a thing. I need to film a little bit of kind of the closeout of that video, but I have all the other body of that video actually set and edited and ready to go. So I'll finish that one up this week and probably post it. I don't know when, actually. I don't know if I'll post any videos Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Maybe I'll just put that one out on Friday. And then I need to work ahead of time on some content for next week, especially if we'll be, if over some period, couple days or whatever, we'll be gone skiing for a little bit. but I've been loading up that server quite a bit. My last check, I'm just shy of 400 movies loaded. So I've right about hit. I probably actually already surpassed the capacity of what I had downloaded to my 24 terabyte, but I'm only I think 60% full. It's at like 39% of 60% full, 39% available. So still quite a lot, which was what I was expecting. I need to do one more kind of sweep through all of my movie library and just to see is there anything else that I want to bring down and make sure to have local and keep on the server. But I've done a pretty full look through so far. I may find some the odd movie or two though, or another series or whatnot that I overlooked. Maybe I think I was holding off on like downloading all the Pixar movies and all of the movies from some certain series and whatnot. But I've got a little bit more space. I'll probably go ahead and do that. So yeah, that's been cool. Blew out the good thing I have no data caps and stuff on the internet connection because I'm sure WoW wasn't liking the amount of data kind of pumping through over these last couple of weeks. But downloads, of course, were snappy and quick. I would just go in and I would queue up like whatever 20, 30 downloads and just let them run for a day, and then the next day queue up another few dozen downloads, and a couple weeks later, and we're all set on that. So take a couple other comments here. Sean Winter 4415, welcome. Hello, took the plunge. I got a straight OV. Cool. Having major lip sync issues. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what to say with anything more than that. Check your HDMI cables and maybe do a reconnection of your HDMI lineup between those devices. If anybody's out there looking for Kaleidoscape, though, please definitely get in touch. I'd love to have you come through me. Julius, how's the Tableau? It's fine. Honestly, to be honest, like I don't really use it. Like broadcast television was never a major use case for me. It's kind of like a fallback. So for folks that are like expecting me to have a lot of thoughts about the Tableau, I kind of put it in there because I wanted the access to like news and real-time info in case something's going on or a big sporting event or something like that. But this is definitely not a device that I'm using with any regularity whatsoever. Like I'm not DVRing stuff and watching it every day. Probably more days of the week than not. I don't even go into the app and tune a channel on the thing. That's just not my use case for television. If I'm casually watching something, I'm usually watching YouTube, live streams and other stuff for not even the home theater hobby. I don't really watch a lot of home theater YouTube anymore. Since doing all the stuff that I do, I largely watching like other interests, collecting interest and stuff like that. So as far as my use is concerned, the Tableau is working fine. I did have another channel regular. You may pop in here today. We'll see. Message me and say that yeah, he picked one up as well and actually had a kind of an opposite experience of mine with it. He was really having some trouble with it. There was like needs to like restart and reboot, and it just wasn't operating very reliably. So bummer there. I'm not sure what the cause of that was. I can say that anytime that I actually have gone to use the thing, it's been fine. It's tuned my channels and it's recording like nightly news and stuff like that. But again, I don't even necessarily watch that stuff on a regular basis. I tend to get my news more online. So anyway, oh Sean, I'm in Canada. Oh yeah, so there you go. That's the difference. The difference of the challenge. Like especially for Kaleidoscape and a couple other brands, for the most part, only really kind of can work within the continental or within the United States anyway. So hopefully you have a good experience. Yeah, in terms of the lip sync, yeah, cables, inputs, kind of unplug everything, replug everything. If it's unique to that source, there's really nothing you can do to force any updates or anything. Obviously, always running latest firmware is best, but the Kaleidoscape will just update on its own. There's really not much you can do to kind of force that or anything. And it probably is already been updated or running latest firmware anyway. There are really no settings on the unit itself related to lip sync or audio management, stuff like that. Couple other questions here. Buford T. Justice, welcome. New names. Awesome to see new names. Do you foresee more frequent updates for the Strato units? It ever seems to be every 3 months or so. Not really. I think they've been running that. I think they've been running kind of at that cadence for a while now, and I would expect it to probably likely continue. They're not a huge company by any means. That I'm not sure what the actual size of the development team is, but um, yeah, updates every couple of months or so seems to be the norm. And we just had some updates come in, or I think they might even still be rolling out within the last few months or whatnot, or within the last few weeks. So yeah, should be the norm. Realize studios provide Kaleidoscape with certain prints. Just like some 4Ks are available on Apple TV or Prime, but only HD version on Kaleidoscape. What's the reason? So they are functionally limited to what the studios provide them, right? And it's surprising. This surprises a lot of people, I think, but I guess it is what it is. Like the studios and the distribution companies, they run their businesses the way they run them, and so physical distribution and digital distribution and the channels by which different companies interact with them are not always the same. So what may go to physical distribution is not necessarily the same thing or the same assets that may go to digital distribution. And of course, Kaleidoscape is a little bit different in some ways than the streaming companies and whatnot. So um, if there's if there's something that they don't have, it's largely always going to be the result of what they were able to be provided by the studios. So when if something is missing, the occasion or the movie doesn't have an Atmos track, or there's something different, again, just because something made it a certain asset or format or something made it to the physical release isn't a guarantee that they're going to get the same. They're going to get the same thing, and vice versa. Sometimes they benefit as well by having access to some assets that are not available somewhere else. Um, Case in point, the amount of content that's in 4K relative to disc on Kaleidoscape is quite a bit more. So we have been watching some movies. Like I said, I kind of made the suggestion to the family as we've been continuing our or wanting to continue kind of the Star Wars escapade that was going on out of a weekend or so ago with my son, where we watched all three of the original trilogy, excuse me, over the course of that weekend, and we were making our toy runs around to the toy stores and the comic stores and all that stuff. Um, we've been working our way now through the prequel trilogy, so we've only done one and two so far. Attack of the Clones. It's been a long time since I've watched Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith as well. I was hoping that we would have got to Revenge of the Sith last night, but we had some stuff going on. My daughter had a later soccer game. She had to finish some tests and stuff for school, so we didn't get to the full movie. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see, but definitely over this Christmas vacation, I'm hoping that we crush through quite a lot of the remainder of the other Star Wars movies. Still planning to do. We did original trilogy. Now the whole family, we're doing the prequels, and then we'll do the sequels, and then Solo, and then Rogue One, I think is the order that we're going to go in. So I put up the poll the other day. What is everybody's opinion of the sequel trilogy? I've been watching a lot of like perspective and deep dive takes on like how good or bad, depending on your perspective, how bad the sequel trilogy actually was, uh, and kind of what people thought about it when it came out relative to the way that kind of people look at it today. So unfortunately, I think those movies did miss their mark quite a bit. And I remember watching it being in the original like theatrical run. Those were all movies that we went to the theater and saw, largely with the same friends as well, and feeling very mixed, particularly like a little underwhelmed by The Force Awakens, and certainly underwhelmed by a number of things that happened in The Last Jedi. And then everything just kind of went off the rails just to get the story over with, of course, um, in the Rise of Skywalker. So I was debating even, it's like, should we just skip these? Do we actually want to skip these movies? Is it better not even to watch these again? Consider them some fever dream of and not canon in any way, but I mean they're part of the story, and I mean they look and sound good. I'm sure. I'm eager to see them on a home viewing. I've never watched the movies at home, never watched those in the theater, and so we'll watch them. But there'll definitely be a lot of discussion, I think, post viewing about just like what exactly what exactly these movies were trying to achieve, some of the logistics that were behind why they ended up being what they were, and kind of qualify a number of things. But can't fault the cast. I think those movies really had a strong cast. Of course, they had the original cast members coming back as well, and I thought the new castings were actually well done. But the storytelling and the planning absolutely failed Star Wars fans. So we were short on time last night, but we ended up watching the Clone Wars animated film as well, which is fine because we just finished Attack of the Clones, and so the Clone Wars animated content comes right after Attack of the Clones anyway. And I'd never actually seen the animated movie. I watched a little bit of the Clone Wars cartoon. I think I'll end up probably trying to binge through it, all of it, all 7 seasons, probably just with my son, not with the whole family. I'm guessing my daughter, and from the family perspective, will maybe jump to some of the live action stuff together. I think Ahsoka season 2 is coming. Some of those I did watch myself, but I never did watch Mandalorian season 3, and the movie that's gonna finish that up is coming out in May. So I think only 1 Star Wars movie on the plan for 2026. So I don't know if we'll go to the show to see that or just wait till it comes home. Probably watch it on Kaleidoscape by midsummer, anyway, or maybe early fall. So I think we'll do some more of the live action stuff together. But my son and I will burn through some of the animated series stuff. I did watch Rebels a long while back. I thought that show was pretty well done. I'm really eager to watch Clone Wars, though. I think there's a lot of cool lore, some good characters developed in Clone Wars, and I believe they ended on some really strong final seasons, despite kind of the show existing and closing out around the time that Disney bought Lucasfilm, where it kind of went away and then it came back and then they wrapped it up. I think from the sentiment I've seen on a really strong path. As we've been working on our collectible plan as well, it's like, what kind of representation do we want from Star Wars in our collection plan and in our display plan and whatnot? It's definitely going to be very original trilogy focused, and I think we are going to do a little bit of some representation for the prequels and maybe stop. I don't think we'll feeling right now that the sequel trilogy doesn't warrant collectible representation. But more on that to come. I'm working on a couple of things in the background as well that would actually bring some new dimension, real new dimension, not even just like more or different electronics brands and audio video brands and stuff, but I'm actually trying to be able to uh, offer collectibles, statues, figures, posters, like from a pretty premier uh, company that is a distributor of their own elements, as well as they're a distributor in the US for a variety of other statue makers and whatnot as well. My understanding is there's a variety of folks out in the channel community that are collectors and buy movie memorabilia. I put that poll up a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, maybe as well. And folks were sending me pictures of their like displays and stuff like that, statues and things that they have like in and around their theater space. And so, like, this could be pretty fun to kind of go into this aspect. I've always been like I was an action figure kid, put it that way, only child, and I was right there, man, for He-Man, Star Wars, GI Joe, Transformers, and all that stuff. So I reveled in all of that when I was a kid, and still have a fondness for all of it. And my son is now right at the age where he's loving it. He's got a keen eye to say that some of the classic stuff is really good. Classic is always better. Classic Marvel is better than new Marvel. Original trilogy Star Wars is better than than the other stuff, and um, original Transformers cartoons and things are better than some of the later ones that have been made. So excited to do a lot of this stuff together with him, and so hoping to again, I bring a new dimension of content to the channel, bring a new dimension of offering whatnot to the business, and just see where it kind of goes. So I'm waiting for some of my inquiries and requests to be hopefully approved, and start some collaborations and opportunities up here pretty soon. But it's still been fun again with my son, kind of working on this collection plan. We've got a whole bunch of stuff specked out. We've bought, I don't even know, maybe a dozen or so Hot Toys and 6 scale figures and stuff that we've already kind of procured, canvassing the area to see what's still in the local stores and whatnot. But and we'll talk more about that coming up. So yeah, I'm kind of rediscovering the why I like Star Wars so much, and my love for it. I was born in '76, so A New Hope was early in my life. Of course, I didn't see that, but I remember kind of like, I don't know, maybe I had to be before Empire Strikes Back came out. I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, because Empire Strikes Back was 1981. Like Star Wars was being watched at home at like a extended family event at Christmas time or something like that, probably on broadcast TV maybe or something. Or did we even have? I don't think we even had VHS by then. Um, or maybe we just got maybe VHS was just relatively new. But by the time like a little after Empire Strikes Back came out, and certainly Return of the Jedi, I was all in. And Luke Skywalker was my probably my most premier childhood hero for sure on screen or in media. Um, so I always like the Marvel comics and stuff as well. But it's fun rediscovering this stuff. So if anybody out there, this is a whole different topic as well, but if you have kids, man, that are like in the age to really get into this stuff, I'm reveling in it every day. Like we're reading comics, we're playing Marvel Champions, we're watching these cartoons, we're talking about the talking about these movies, talking about these characters and these properties and all that stuff. So it's been really fun, and again, hoping to really kind of crush through the remainder of all these movies and kind of move on from there. So and reform my opinions, my own personal opinions about the sequel trilogy after I watch it again. Is it worse than my initial sentiment was? It is as bad as the public sentiment seems to be. That's what I've been watching the most. Really, is a lot of like real deep like uh, dissertations. You could almost describe them as about Star Wars and the story and how like the sequence of events that led to the sequel trilogy kind of being what it was, and business decisions and stuff going on kind of behind the scenes. So fun. I don't know. I always like listening and to the business aspects of the stuff that I like. So we've been doing some gaming as well. We finished up Hyrule Warriors and we played a little bit of the adventure mode, which was pretty neat, but mostly just kind of a padding extension of the same base game. But we wanted to kind of move on. I don't know if we'll go back to the Hyrule Adventure mode anymore. Excuse me, but we did pick up Marvel Cosmic Invasion on Steam. So that came out a couple weeks ago, I think beginning of December. $30 on Steam. Unfortunately, not marked down already in the winter sale or the whatever holiday sale that's going on. But we did pick that up and started it this past weekend. So 2D, old school, pixely artish side scroller beat 'em up, 4 player. We've just been playing 2 player. It's just been my son and I, but it's kind of cool that you can actually pick 2 characters. So as you're playing, you get the variety of, you don't just have to commit to one for any given level. You can pick 2 characters, and with a quick button press, you can kind of switch between them, or even kind of like combo up. It's obviously not a big like graphics powerhouse game or anything like that, but it seems to run pretty good, running reliably, nowhere near tapping the necessary horsepower of the 5090. But native 4K, super high frame rates, and all of that. I don't think the game even actually had graphics options other than its resolution. Oh, but it's pretty fun. We were having fun with that. There's a pretty good mix of characters right out of the gate, and then a whole bunch of stuff to unlock and that as you go. I'm not sure how many levels there actually are. I feel like we've played about at least 7 or 8 levels so far. I think it only takes maybe about 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours to kind of work through what would be the campaign mode, but the characters level up and get some extra hit points and power and some passive abilities and whatnot. There's no skill trees or anything like that, but all the main ones are there. You can play Iron Man, you can play Captain America, not exactly Thor, but there's a variant of Thor, essentially, Beta Ray Bill, some of the X-Men, Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider, a newer version of the character, and the Rocket Raccoon and stuff. They all have some pretty cool and fairly deep enough, I guess, for what it is, like attack animations and whatnot. Their ability to combo up some stuff, hold buttons, and different things happen, charge up attacks, some special abilities and whatnot that you kind of build up your bar and build up your meters by fighting. So yeah, we'll crash through that, and then I don't know what we might do. We might actually look at some Star Wars games after that potentially. Especially if we finish up the movies. I'm really trying to just get us through the movies, and then it opens the door to enjoying Star Wars in some other media, maybe reading some of the comics and stuff with my son as well. So that's been going well. That TV is working really nicely. So no complaints about the TCL. I know the couple question. Actually, did I miss one as well on the Julius asking, how are the blacks in the TCL? Any grayness or light bleeding? Black's pretty okay. So we actually did watch the Clone Wars movie upstairs. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know if that was in HDR or not. If that was just like 4K or what the streaming was. I didn't notice the streaming format of the movie. I just knew that for whatever reason the Clone Wars movie is not available on Kaleidoscape, but it was just on Disney Plus. So we just streamed it on Disney Plus. And if we would have watched Revenge of the Sith, we would have come down to the theater room to do it. But since the animated movie was only an hour and a half, and we were kind of cozy in the living room, and again, it's Christmas time, like sitting by the tree and fireplace and whatnot. So we all just cozied up on the couch and grabbed some blankets and watched it. I was actually falling asleep. My wife fell asleep at the end. I was actually falling asleep at the end too. I had to replay a little bit of it to miss or to kind of recatch the final story beats. But I can't complain about the TCL. Again, I think it's working great. It's very reliable. It like input changes, HDMI syncs. So we did actually, we did some PC gaming because of the Cosmic Invasion game. So we were able to run the PC for kind of an extended period of time on the television. We did that movie that movie on the stream. And we did, I'm trying to think when we watched The Grinch, if we talked about that last week, if that was prior to last week's stream or if that was something that we actually watched in the last week. I think that was prior to last week's stream. I did try to also sit down with the TV just for a brief period. I had a short open window, and I'm like, well, I'm going to jump on here and I'm going to play a variety of like Kaleidoscape scenes, kind of some of the torture test scenes that I often use to demo the home theater space. So nowadays I use the Fantastic Four Silver Surfer chase scene. Historically, I use like the 1917 where the guy's like waking up and he kind of crawls up the stairs. The Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, the submarine scene. But I did it. It was during the day, and so as bright as these TVs are, we talk about like it's really challenging to use a projector during the day. It's still really challenging to use a flat panel during the day, especially if you're watching something and you're trying to actually evaluate some kind of like dark or black level. If it's bright and stuff, that's great. It's bright, it'll overcome the ambient light and whatnot in the room. But watching darker stuff in the day isn't doing any favors to the display, right, or the content. So I really need to do that same test at night when it's dark and just let the TV kind of fully shine through. So I would say that any additional testing was a little indeterminate to make any more conclusions and whatnot. I do feel like the higher quality the input the TV is getting, like it does better with higher quality input, and it maybe still struggles a little bit with lower quality input. Meaning like lower quality input is a little more flat. I feel like the G2 felt it had more pop. It had a little more pop, especially with streaming content or lower fidelity content. With the Kaleidoscape, though, the TCL looks really nice, and particularly with gaming, which is natively rendered high quality video image and stuff. The colors, the punch, the sharpness, and all of that is definitely there when we were playing the Cosmic Invasion game. So jury's still out on what I may want to do next year when the 2026 models come. I can't say for sure that I'm like that I feel strongly enough about the TCL that I have no interest in spending more to potentially get like a G6 97-inch or something like that. But I will say that there's still no substitute for the size. The impact of the size rules all. So I don't even care what pop or fidelity or whatever that I may have lost in some regard from the G2 at 83, because 98 crushes 83 for everything. Regular presentation, video games especially are poignantly better, poignantly more impactful. And then of course anything movie watching and stuff, especially if scope content. So the Clone Wars animated show with scope I'm pretty sure the Grinch movie was also in scope, and so scope on an 83 feels small, especially when I have like a mental image of a 163-inch scope to compare it to. But scope on a 98 is much, much more impactful. So size, in this case, definitely size rules. And if size with certain television models is far too expensive, or it takes them out of the realm of possibility, these other large format TVs are pretty incredible value, um, especially if they would be your only display, right? And in your building, and you're centering your home theater setup around them. So I'm happy with it for sure. Happy enough that I definitely don't regret changing it. No matter what, this was a learning. I wanted the learning experience of it. I wanted to be able to experience the TCL. I wanted to be able to learn their settings and menus and options and platform a little bit, get an idea about what the picture quality and stuff capable of it was. I did check my firmware. There was a note that like, yeah, they improved picture quality in the latest TCL firmware, but I was already running that firmware. Um, I'm gonna forget the dates and stuff now, but I looked it up because I think FOMO had just done a video, a more recent video, or one of the TV guys had been talking about the TCL firmware, but I'm pretty sure that my TV downloaded that firmware the night that we set it up. Like that firmware was already out. It wasn't like brand new as of the last week or this week or last week or anything like that. I did validate that. And I feel like that was several days ago that I actually had the inclination to think that, but looked to see what the new firmware update version was and validated that's what was already on my TV. So, um, but yeah, reliability is good. The only thing I'm waiting for still is I still need to get the television kind of fully integrated on my Control 4 setup. So it is a little bit of a pain right now to have to manage multiple remotes. I turn my sources and manage my audio gear and stuff like that in the Control 4, but the TCL itself is not in my Control 4 configuration yet. So I pretty much just I have that remote sitting out. I use that remote to turn the TV on and off, use that remote to change its inputs and stuff. I probably should turn the voice control back on actually, and then I could put that remote away and we could just turn the TV on and off ideally and switch its inputs and stuff by commanding voice control, but I haven't bothered to do that. Nominally speaking, I'll leave the voice command completely disabled, so the TV's not just generally listening listening to everything that we're doing and saying and going on in our living room, and I don't need the voice control normally. But I do hope sometime soon here in the coming weeks, at least, maybe by early January, to have the things we need and have my Control 4 integrator be able to either remotely set it up or stop by and set it up, and get the right drivers and everything in there so we can get full like IP control of the television going, and then toss that TCL remote in the car or in the drawer and not have to have it kind of sitting out. I have reconditioned myself to want to just only using the Control 4 Halo in the living room as well. I kind of gotten away from that. But now that we have the switch, we're switching inputs more often. We have the Kaleidoscape player and stuff in there. Um, we have a little bit more of like a more frequent multi-input use in the system. And so it's a whole lot more handy to have the Control 4 remote in hand than it is to only just try to use the Apple TV remote like I had been doing for a while there. And in fact, I still haven't even set up with the G2. I had an IR repeater system set up where there was like an IR receiver under the TV, and then that was extended like over Cat5 cables down to the rack, and then plugged into the IR port on the back of the STR so that we could use that IR to control volume of the STR via the Apple TV remote. And I never bothered to set that back up again. So on the living room side. So if we even tried to do it, the Apple TV remote is a little bit of a compromise, definitely a compromise compared to using the Halo. And in the wintertime as well, another handy. I like having the Halo remote in hand because especially if I'm cozied up on the couch and feeling chilly, we can turn the fireplace on with the remote. instead of having to untuck from under the blankets and have to walk across the room to hit the button on the wall. So that's a nice little additional nice little convenience. So I kind of been wondering, like, is there anything else that I want to try to accomplish? And this calendar year, and again, I've had some now almost getting to the point of like long-standing um, engagement, preparation, irons in the fire, but things are moving a lot slower with a couple of things than I was really hoping that they would. I was by now actually I would have expected to have been additionally trained on some things that I'm kind of evaluating in the background, but that didn't end up working out. Unfortunately, there was a need to that those got pushed into January, and I'm trying to still work on some additional engagements, and but I think a lot of that's going to end up slowing down as we get through as basically we get to the holidays here in a couple of days. So I hope to hear back on a couple of things and still work towards some opportunities and whatnot over the course of the next week and a half, but we'll see. I'll be working, but other folks that I need to engage with or get decisions and answers and stuff from may not be. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any other. The other thing that I was considering still doing was the Ubiquity NAS setup and stuff, but I'm not under any super need to push on that right now. I think I may just kind of chill with the Synology. I still I still need to make a concerted effort to migrate my photo libraries from like OneDrive and the OneDrive sync of the NAS that doesn't seem to work very reliably anymore over to iCloud, and that's still going to take me a while. So I may end up just finishing that first, which probably take me if I actually work on it, probably still takes me a month. But that's one of those things where I kind of remember to do it and make some progress, and then I forget about it for 4 or 5 days and don't make any progress with it. So, but yeah, the big thing and the next big stuff is going to be this. I think this memorabilia stuff as we get started into 2026. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot much else to say today. Kind of just chill again, ready for these holidays to start, ready to just kind of sit back and enjoy, relax, get outside, enjoy the start of some of the winter sports season, and again, hopefully get through the majority of these Star Wars movies. Keep binging that stuff out. So if anybody has any comments, questions, anything else that they'd like to bring into the chat, feel free to post. Happy to take any kind of comments, questions, and whatever else. Otherwise, we'll kind of be wrapping up here soon. My wife is off to an activity this evening. So actually, my kids are waiting upstairs to grab some dinner and hang out a little bit with them. We need to do a little bit more Christmas shopping for my wife this evening as well. Buford, love the fact that Kaleidoscape offers movie updates after release with sound and video improvements. Yeah, I think that's a key awesome element of the platform. They can fix mistakes, they can improve encodings. They can add formats. I was looking today actually, and a couple more Bond movies I think were updated with Atmos audio tracks that I have that I can download in my system. I didn't kick off the updates though because I'm still going to continue to do the like this week in Kaleidoscape videos, and so I like to wait until after those videos so that I can see like what all was updated or whatnot in a given week. Now that I have the big server, it'll be more interesting. I can track movie updates on bigger movie titles and stuff more regularly. Yeah, latest one, for example, was a 4K version of Kingdom of Heaven. Yep. And there's always new movies coming out to 4K updates as well. So I do every Tuesday night, I try to record the This Week in Kaleidoscape video, try to publish it Wednesday morning, best case scenario, and basically go through the store, take a look at what's new, take a look at what's updated, see if I have any pending movie updates that have been published in the last week. So it's fun making that series. I kind of muse a little bit as well on like um, you know, just my opinions on certain films and what I've seen and what I haven't seen and what I like and don't like. So having fun making those videos, and we'll continue to do it. So between that and the live stream, it's nice to have like some repeatably reliable content, and then try to get at least another edited video or whatnot out every given week. I will end up filming. It's been so long now. I think it's 2 years out of date. I think 2023 was the last living room tour. So now that the TCL is in, the project is pretty well set. Things are all functional and operating. We got the server back in. I will. That might be the video for New Year's week, actually, or either that or the first week of the new year. But I want to. I want to film a full living room tour to stand alongside the home theater tour from I think earlier this year as well. So they'll both be basically representative of the 2025 state of the system. And as we go into 2026, we'll see what changes and evolves. And I need to start making. I need to film some more TCL content. I want to do like a menu overview, um, talk a little bit about kind of the settings, the interoperability, and stuff like that, and then keep watching and keep kind of formulating my opinion on the picture quality, and give my opinions and whatever on that. See, Kennesaw, welcome. Another new name. I have a question. I've been living in a 7.1 discrete world, and while I can decode Atmos and DTSX, should I really add height ceiling speakers for true spatial audio? Is it really better? um, so that's like real. Oh, that's a tough one. It's like a yes and no answer. Like it boils down to like what do you need to do to accomplish adding this to your system? Like, is it a pain? Do you really not have the ability to do it well? Do you have the disposable cash to want to make the upgrades necessary to do this? You may, um, do you have the audio processor and receiver capable of doing it? Not only will you have to buy the speakers, you may have to upgrade the audio processing piece as well. Um, the way that I look at it is, to me, I really do feel that like the majority of the presence of theater audio really comes from the front sound stage. And so that's why even I've mentioned a number of times, like if I had to move and I was in a multifunction space, I didn't have a dedicated home theater, I wouldn't necessarily even sweat Atmos or sweat surrounds and stuff like that, um, for the virtue of just having a really nice like frontal system. Um, and I feel that upstairs, like the sound stage, the sound quality that I get upstairs is so good. And in here, like so much impactful sound comes from these utopias behind the screen. Everything else is ambiance and whatnot. So is to say it's cool, when stuff's whizzing around and watching these Star Wars movies, right? There's ships buzzing around, there's blaster bolts firing and explosions and things. Having that come from different directions and all that is cool. Um, So if you can do it, it's cool. If you have to force it, I wouldn't sweat it. And I think that's where like a lot of folks in this hobby struggle is they try to force stuff into places and positions and things where it just doesn't really work. The basement system actually for the person that came over, like he has a really hard challenge to try to do. He wants to do a multi-channel setup, but it really doesn't work with 4 speakers overhead because there's, like, all this duct work in the back, and so you can't really get speakers kind of up behind the couch. You can kinda get 2 speakers kind of over the couch, and it's like, "Okay, that's fine. Let's just do 2." Or let's just have 2, like, height kind of speakers. There's not a super tall ceiling in there and whatnot, and there's really no facility to do side surrounds and rear surrounds, so we're kind of compromising. So you gotta compromise where the space is at. So Kennesaw saying I have a 7.1.2 processor, just need to add 2 ceiling speakers and a 2-channel amp. Um, it's fun. It's fun, but I wouldn't, if you're happy with what you have, I wouldn't necessarily go out of the way to worry about it. To me, that I get a lot of value just out of the front soundstage of my systems, and I'm completely happy watching movies upstairs, as well. Spliffy's saying here, yeah, 2 Atmos speakers isn't worth it in my experience. I might disagree with that a little bit. Like, I mean, if you can only do 2, do 2. If you can get to 4, 4 is better. 4 gives you the ability to kind of have things move, like the way things move in space and the way they move side to side. It gives you a little bit more ability to kind of spread that audio out, and share it around the room. But you're limited by we're all limited by some constraint or another. Yeah, 4 is what sounded best for sure. Same thing with subwoofers, right? You kind of do. It's great. Definitely, definitely want one. Two is better. Three is better. Four is better potentially, depending on where you can put them and how they're interacting with your room and stuff like that. Maybe more isn't better if you actually have a really great room and you're getting a solid response out of the subs, and you don't need them to kind of offset each other and coordinate with each other and kind of work together to fill out the response. But most rooms, that's really not the case. There's compromises, room modes, and other things like that. So, but again, you can only do what you can do. So if more subs is better, but you can't fit more subs or it doesn't work with other like financial constraints and whatnot, then kind of meet the system where you have to meet it. So I would have to upgrade my processor to get 7.1.4. So that means you could probably fit the speakers, but again, more upgrades. I would say if it's something that you're progressing longer towards, like is your goal to build out a full like 11 channel plus audio system? Do you want to get more discrete subwoofers as well? We do this stuff kind of for fun and because we can also. And worth it becomes a matter of personal opinion for both the quantity and the quality of what we choose to buy. I feel like that I'm giving a little bit of a cop-out answer. I don't want to feel like I'm giving a cop-out answer, but I can say that in my theater, I really like having as much speaker presence as I have. I like having even though I don't have optimal positions, I again, because of my soffits and stuff, they're a little forward of kind of where they should be. I did the best that I could with the spaces and positions that I had. I like having the whole thing down here, and it makes sense to have the whole thing down here because we can more or less represent it really well. In my living room, though, no, not at all. I don't want any more speakers up there. 2-channel, big presence, front, full range tower, effectively what I have, right? The equivalent of big full range towers in that wall is what I have and what I like. And adding some surrounds or adding some overheads would only complicate the system. I would have to move away from 2-channel dedicated level equipment just to get another speaker or two. And I don't even have a good place for surround bed layer speakers anyway, because the way the room was laid out and constructed, and like adding heights just to accompany a front soundstage feels silly to me. I like the system kind of focused where it is. So in some cases and situations, I'm all about going for more, and then in other cases, I'm completely happy. I'm happy with less, higher quality, but less stuff. So yeah, no way would I ever go to 11. I want to stick with 7 horizontal. Add a second sub for 7.2, 4 ceilings. Oh, that's what I meant though. 11 speakers total, 7 plus the 4. So that's where I would have to draw the line. Yeah, so we're talking the same thing. If you went, yep, 7 plus 4 heights is the 11 that we were talking about. You may get more value out of that second subwoofer than those height speakers as well, depending on on your room layout and performance and response and all of that. That may be a more impactful upgrade actually overall. So if you question when watching movies upstairs, does the K send the LFE signal to the 2? My understanding is yes, it would. That it gets those speakers get everything. So that signal should be getting sent to both of those speakers. I was inclined actually, and this is going to take a lot of work to do it, but I had been thinking about changing the speaker configuration upstairs, actually away from the full range setup to actually running it as 2.2. To running it as 2.2 because I do wonder, like, is it better to have both subwoofers? Is it better to have 2 subwoofers representing all of the bass signal? Because my expectation would be is that when you have the 2 mains, those speakers are getting the collapsing of everything that would be on the left side of the room goes to the left speaker, everything that would be on the right side of the room goes to the right speaker, and anything that would be in an LFE channel should just go to both speakers. But um, because those speakers are not being cut off, right? They're not being bass managed at all. If there is like bass region sound that is going to one speaker, it that sound is only going to that one speaker, basically, if I'm trying to say this right. And so and if I look at the response of the low end of those speakers in that room, one of them goes lower, one of them goes deeper, and one of them has like some nulls. It's kind of almost the same situation in this room up here, where my speakers up front go deeper, but they have mid bass nulls, and the speakers in the back don't, or the subwoofers, sorry, in the back don't go as deep, but they don't have mid bass nulls. And so I wonder if it's actually better to have like the subwoofers functioning as the subwoofers so that they're bass managed, and that any any lower frequency sound that would be mapped to the left or the right channel um, would get split between both subs, and they would actually, am I missing something, or would they be compensating with each other better by doing that? Theoretically, it wouldn't make much of a difference because there's probably not a whole lot, because if we're watching movies and stuff like that, there is an LFE track, and the LFE track is going to both full range speakers anyway. They're getting that sound, and they're going to be fully representing it. So it is different. It's an interesting question. I've actually sent some questions from my original setup of the living room to Anthem, because I was curious to ask a little bit about calibration and how some of the information that like Arc Genesis was reporting. And I was kind of musing over some of these ideas in my mind. Cal mentioned that it's better to have the speakers as a full range, like they're designed to work that way. They have a sophisticated developed crossover network inside, meant to take care of all of the routing and all of the stuff. Let the speaker do what the speaker wants to do, which makes a lot of sense, rather than overlaying processing stuff on top of it. But I don't know. But is the processing actually better in some way, because it will route more sound to both subs, and they'll work together in concert in a better way. I sent my questions, but I never did get actually a reply to the folks that I had messaged there. I need to probably refresh my inquiry, because I'm kind of learning as I go with that setup specifically, because I think home theater is actually a little bit easier to understand what's going on than in the 2-channel setup, especially with like these calibration systems and stuff that are kind of more built for like multi-channel setup and base management and crossovers and things. But when you don't have all of that stuff, okay, what is happening is interesting to kind of puzzle out. So it says, gotcha, thanks for your expert opinion. Sure, if I can help you with anything as well, feel free to reach out outside the channel. Yeah, Split is saying, right, you don't get the summation of low frequencies, yeah, like you do in a base managed system. Correct. But again, hopefully it should work out that the LFE channel is not lost. It's routed to the speakers. Like all sound should just be routed to those speakers. And there's no reason that the like Arc Genesis or anything coming out of the output, or the decoders as well, should be doing anything other than that. So like if I look at the Apple TV, I still run my Apple TV with Atmos enabled, because my take, based on looking at bit rates and stuff like that, is the bit rates are higher when you stream as the Dolby Atmos versus not. Otherwise, you get like lossy Dolby Digitals and stuff if you just set up for less of a system. And I have the TV doing the decoding, and it's sending 2-channel PCM down to the Anthem STR over an optical connection. So the decoder in that TV gets a whatever, an Atmos signal, and maybe there's an LFE channel in that Dolby Atmos mix as well. It should be mixing all of that stuff, or decoding all of that stuff out, and then summing everything together into a left and a right signal where everything on the left is going to the left, everything on the right is going to the right. Anything that was meant for the center is going to both, and anything that went to the LFE is going to both. That's the way that I think it should work. And then on the Kaleidoscape side, for the player in the living room, I do the same thing. In the player, that player, the new Stratos, the V and the E and the M, I think as well, um, just not the C. They support the ability to do PCM output. And so for the living room system, I have it turned on that way. I have them set not to bitstream, and so they should be playing the full lossless, like Dolby Atmos, True HD, etc., whatever, DTS, DTSX soundtracks of those movies, and then doing the decoding to 2-channel PCM. I think if I can't get and then once it's output to as full range 2-channel PCM fully integrated with all of that signal, Anthem or the audio processor shouldn't be doing anything to cut anything off. Like that full range audio signal should just get routed through to those speakers and play all the way through. So maybe I'll send my question actually also to Kaleidoscape, um, and kind of validate the inquiry around how the 2-channel PCM output decoding mode works. If it works like we're surmising, then nothing should be lost. It's a little hard to say too. Is like upstairs is there anything missing in the bass? Because I mean, to be honest, that system doesn't have the bass power that the system down here does. So I'm not hearing. I'm definitely not getting like infrasonic. I'm not feeling and hearing rumble to the extent that I do in the theater anyway, because the system just isn't able to reproduce it. It's punchy and it's thick enough, like the base presentation is thick enough that like I'm okay with this for my living room system, and it can still kick out some rumble. In fact, I think I still heard my gutter. What was I watching? I think it was when I was doing those demos during the day. I cranked the sound up a little bit while I was playing them, and I could hear my gutter rattling outside, which I could also hear before with the triads in the wall. Um, so I think the signal is getting there, but obviously the bass reproduction isn't at the same level as what 4 17-inch subs is able to kick out. So, but interesting question. That's just really interesting thing. So maybe I'll try my best to collect some information on this and kind of muse on it, share some information when we come back next time. So, C. Kenesawa says, I have the same crossover inquiry to my speaker manufacturer. Yeah, like I said, that's what Focal recommended was to go take the IW sub, connect it to the Utopia, set the crossover on the speaker, and then send a full range signal from the audio processor and run it that way. To try to change it is a pain because we got to, these are in walls. They're not floor standers. If they were floor standers, I could just go behind them and unplug cables and plug other cables in. Now, if I want to change the setup, I have to pull the speakers out of the wall. And so that's just like it's not a big deal, but it's like it's a bit of a hassle. It's a lot of unscrewing the clips, risking, clipping the drywall or marring the edge of the paint, something like that. And then the speaker module sits on the subwoofer module. So, it's work. And actually to do it, I got to pull both out because I'd have to pull the speaker out. I'd have to replace, or no, actually, what would I have to do? I'd have to pull the speaker out. The low level crossover, I think wouldn't even matter. I'd have to pull the subwoofer out and I'd have to wire the subwoofer. I'd remove the speak-on cable that connects them. And then I'd have to use the other pole of speaker wire that I already pulled that's sitting in the wall, connect that to the subwoofer, and then I'd have to come downstairs and wire those, set the amplifiers out of bridge mode back to 2 amp mode, run separate speaker and subwoofer interconnects from the STR to the amplifiers, and and then take them on stuff out of bridge mode. So the biggest pain in all of that is getting the speakers out of the wall and putting them back in again. And then if I don't like it for some reason and I want to go back, I got to do it all again. But I just the inertia, the laziness or the inertia of like, this is an experiment. This, like, I don't think what I have right now is sounding bad in any way. And I don't think that changing it would make it necessarily any better. It just makes it different. Like it changes where some of the complication and in how the processing and stuff is done. But I don't know that it necessarily makes it any better. But I'll try to ask the decoding question, particularly to Kaleidoscape, and see what they say. Kennesaw, setting your crossover point. Are you setting your crossover point at 80 hertz for the THX standard? So in the living room, there is, or yes, actually, sorry. In the living room, there's not a crossover in the audio processor. Again, the Anthem should be sending nothing because there's no subwoofers. So the Anthem Arc Genesis, the Anthem configuration sees no subwoofers. It sees two speakers, and so it should just be sending them full range sound. Then when you connect the IW submodule to the Utopia speaker via the Speak-On connection, there is a jumper, and it goes, I forget what the numbers are. There's an 80 hertz option, 100 hertz option, and I think it went up to 120 or 110, or maybe it was 80, 90, and 100. And for like kind of the most traditional bass response, it recommends the jumper position at 80. So I have the jumpers set at 80. Of course, in the theater, yes, we're doing bass management. I let Arc Genesis set the crossovers, but I'm pretty sure all the crossovers in here, Arc Genesis set them to 80. But yeah, Stephen McCullough, yeah, you should set your crossover, or here, crossover based on the speakers and how they interact with the room. Yeah, not one size fit all. Like 80 is the gold standard. Even a lot of like room correction systems are going to come back kind of setting crossovers at 80. Those numbers may change based on like how things are measured, and like he's saying here, of course, how they interact with the room, the performance that they're getting and stuff like that. Crossovers may be set a little bit higher for heights or surround speakers, particularly heights if you're using much smaller speakers that don't have more dynamic range in their playback capabilities and stuff. But I would generally not set those manually, especially with the Anthem equipment. I just run Arc Genesis, and wherever Arc determines is a good point to set those crossovers, I would leave it to determine that. If you're using a different correction system, Odyssey or something like that, I don't know, maybe you intervene, but for the most part, these systems should hopefully be making a good determination based on measurements rather than just kind of our own opinions or whatnot. Cool. All right, we're at 6:08. I'm gonna go grab some dinner, hang out with the kids tonight. Get ready for Christmas. So I hope everybody has a really great week. I hope you have an awesome, safe, happy, healthy, and jolly Christmas week ahead. We will be back next Monday, or even what we're looking at for our ski plans and all of that will have me available on Monday. So we will get together on Monday. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Trying to get a lot of business done this week still. But I really got some cool things going on that I'm eager to share. So if I can make some progress on those, that'll be awesome. Again, if anybody's looking for last minute Christmas shopping and whatnot, I will be readily available over this week to discuss, engage, consult, give opinions, and fulfill orders and get orders placed and whatnot to the best of my ability. According to some of the brands and partners and stuff may be also unavailable some days, but I'll do my best to get everybody hooked up with stuff. Reach out, Jeremy at techthusiasm.net. Go to the webpage, get in touch through the contact form there. It'll be a fun couple of weeks, again, strategizing on some of the projects and stuff that I mentioned earlier. And yeah, just some chill time. We'll be watching some movies, playing some games, and hopefully working out a good bit over this next couple of weeks. Refuel, recharge, and then we're right into CES and all kinds of other cool tech to kick off the year. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Julius, T. Kennesaw, Stephen McCauley, and all the others that are there. Thanks for coming back for more home theater discussion and fun. We'll talk soon. Merry Christmas. Thanks.